gotta be strong in this time, son. Survivor. I will survive. I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. We'll forever strive just to stay alive. That simple means say nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lot of strength. No weakness, show them who we are. Strength. No weakness, show me a lot of everybody strength. No weakness, show them who we are. Not when you're old. Your enemies, they must tremble. Your enemies, they must tremble. Yo.
Are you looking for some early cash for Christmas? Yes! Then join the fun online. Play Ridealong Virtual Bingo! Because on Sunday, October 4th, from 6 p.m., you can win not 10, not 15, but a whopping $20,000 US cash! And the best part is, tickets are only $20 US. Available at gotofed.com or special box offices island-wide. And if you don't have any idea how to play, then visit our main office at Blue Street Mall, where one of our agents will go through the process step by step. Remember, Sunday, 4th October, Ridealong Virtual Bingo is now $20,000 US. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah. You gotta be firm in this time, son. You gotta be strong in this time, son.
Hey, what's up? Ride along. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Monday. My most favorite day. Monday. How you guys doing? Welcome to Monday on the ride, guys. As you come in, go ahead and share up the thing and say I share. As soon as you come in, share up the thing and say I share. Rita Williams, how you doing? Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Lacey J, how you doing? Big up yourself. Let me see who was first inside today. Let me see who was the first person. Natasha Charles. Kudos to you, Natasha Charles. You are the first. Let me go ahead and share up the thing as well. You are the first, Natasha. So we'll give you a big ride along smile. Congratulations. Hey, Glenda, Rennie, Moraine, big up yourself. Tamika, Andrea. Guys, as you're coming, go ahead and share. Say I share. Samantha, thank you so much for sharing. Samantha. Hermelin Mary Show. Yeah, I'm gonna be in the midst of a lot of his people, you know what I mean? So I gotta make sure that they don't dress up more than me. So that's why Hermelin. I don't want them to embarrass me and thing, huh? Yes, that's why. I share. Alistair, big up yourself. Dean Fraser, thank you so much. How you doing? Big up yourself, the moderator. Yeah, guys, share. Everybody share. Remy, gun point. Gun pot. Remy, big up yourself. Delia, big up yourself. Everybody share. All the quick share. Rochelle, big up yourself. Yeah. Share. Who else? Karen, how you doing? Karen. A long time I ain't get a chance to figure out where you guys from, Jed. A long time I ain't check all the where you're from. Where are you watching us from? Where are you day? Where are you representing? Where are you is? I want to know where are you day. Ted, how you big up yourself? Aisha, thank you so much. Natasha, Aisha, thank you. Natasha, Rita Smith, thank you so much. Rita, where are they? Lux, big up yourself, thank you so much. Yes, I see you. Guys, listen, I just want to tell you guys that man, I had a beautiful weekend. I had a beautiful weekend this weekend. You know what I mean? I know COVID-19 is still out there, right? I know people are going through a lot, right? But that doesn't stop you from having a good time and enjoying your days, enjoying your weekends. This weekend, I rest, I chill, I relax, and I got a chance to check out one of the hottest show on the internet right now. It's called the Top 5. Always one of my favorite show on a Sunday. That was great. I had a great weekend, man. I had a freaking good weekend. A freaking good weekend. But despite the fact that the weekend was so great, so grand, so nice. Montreal, I see you. Dr. Z, I see you. Pearl, I see you. Besides my weekend being so fabulous, so great, so grand, we had some major controversy this weekend. Big controversy. Started on Friday. But I didn't touch on it. I didn't speak on it. I had absolutely nothing to say about it. In fact, a lot of people asked me my opinion on it, and I did not say anything. I purposely didn't say anything because I wanted to see. I wanted to get more information. I wanted to see how this thing would play out. Yeah. So today, I'm going to speak on it. Today, I'm going to speak on it, man. And I have a few friends. Jason Skeet, who everyone know. You don't hold him out at all. Jason does talk in mind. Don't care what. Jason is not going to hold up. When he say he talking in mind, he's talking in mind. Jason Skeet is with me, and I'm happy to have him. And from the top 5, one of the top 5, she is here with us as well. She is one of the top 5. Her name is Colleen.
Hey, everyone.
In the building. Colleen is in the building.
Yes.
Also, joining us on the discussion, he is no stranger to Ridealong. He's a clinical psychologist. Always a good guy, and he's a very opinionated guy. I'm happy to call him my friend, although we followed on a number of things, but we're still friends. Mr. Pancho is going to be joining us as well to join in on the discussion. So I'll just see why I say this Monday is going to be a nice Monday. Hi, guys. Let's get into it. Before we start, also, I want you guys to write down the number. I want you guys to write down this number. 718-701-5720. I want you guys to write that number down and add that number to your WhatsApp for the people who might be watching us from Grenada or Trinidad or Jamaica. Write that number down and add that number to your WhatsApp because you're going to be participating and calling us via WhatsApp. You don't have to call via the straight phone line. I know it costs a lot of money. You could call us on WhatsApp. We're going to get your audio. Same way. Okay, all you got that? All you got that number saved? All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. So this weekend, as I said, it was a nice weekend, plagued with a lot of controversy. And one of the most topical issues that was on the tip of everyone's tongue this weekend was this video. Let me just show you guys a little snippet of it. Quick snippet of it. Some of you guys may not see the video. So, for the interest of everyone who did not see the video, I want you guys to take a look at this video. We're going to play from beginning to end, and I'll get the panelists' take on it. Take a look at this video, guys.
No, this time, do not rough me. They must do rough me.
Officer, you go to charge a man. Why you don't give the money ticket and let go about the business? Why you don't give the money ticket and let go about the business? Why you handle him so far? In the first case, you go to charge him. You don't charge him, and you just decide to handle the man. Why are you handling the man like that, officer? Why you trying to trip him, officer? Why you trying to trip him? Why you trying to trip him? Why you trying to trip him? Well, I want to know what's going on. Really? But you go to charge a man. You just hush him out. You don't see what going on. You go to charge a man. You don't give the man a ticket.
And I don't want to do so.
You hush him out. You can't just wrap the thing up the man so.
And I cooperate.
And the man supposed to turn in his license. He have 48 hours to turn in his license. But he have 48 hours. You can't just arrest a man just so.
On the side of the road.
You can't just arrest a man just so.
And I cooperate.
Hey, if you miss, use force. Well, it's on camera. Everything there. Well, the point is that the point is that he was giving him a ticket. The man had 48 hours. 48 hours to turn his license.
I smell that Roman kind of thing, girl. I know the chicken Roman thing on the job, girl. You must smell that rum, you know. So you don't drink alcohol. So you take awesome. And boy, so what's it? You're riding a bike. You're riding a bike. Are you forced or you cooperate? And last time I'll be telling you.
Boss, I think you're good at right. Just cooperate to the police and just go ahead.
That's the last time I'll be telling you.
You're right to think, but you just do make my do things just go on.
What you intend to do? I want you to tell me what you really arresting me for. Arresting because failing to give orders and requesting to do so. Easy and simple. You're charging, you tell me you're charging. Easy and simple.
So you pepper spray the man everything, eh? So that one going on in Grenada, take advantage of people, boy, children. Take advantage of people, children. Take advantage of people, children. Okay, that what are you doing? Let me know. I have everything here. You find you kick down the man. You find you kick down the man that they up on the bike. And those kind of things. So where's my phone? I'm a fucking. Yeah. They arrest your son up on New Boban Hill right here now. The same policeman on the bike again, he like to take down people off a bike and all kind of thing, you know. And say, they come and just follow the boy pull up on the side, they tell him how he's driving without license and those kind of things. So Reen maybe they give him something or whatever, the man go in and wrap up the boy because I have everything on camera here. So the man, Reen tell him don't hang left the man pepper spray the boy in his face and thing now. The police pepper spray me now. Pepper spray the boy in the eye, the boy can't even open the eye thing right now. See, I come and I get a van to go back down in the station and go back up. I there on the cliff here, I don't leave him until they think that he just call the police van for him. He handcuff him and he call the police van for him. Ian. What say? Are they on the cliff here? I was coming and meet you and then the police come and arrest the driver who was the boy was dropping him up and those kind of things. So are they here still? Well, just leave it there because I want to come up and get it.
You come down. Huh? Yeah, anybody there? Yeah. All right, let me use the one.
Now we call the police van. Call the police van. Let the police van go with him because this vehicle, I don't know what they do with him.
Yeah.
I'll bring on the van. I don't talk to your father already. I'll pick up your hat. Just come, just walk. I'm holding you. I'm holding you. I'm holding me. Don't know where you're going.
You let him go, please.
What? I don't know.
All right. So there we go, guys. I know a lot of people said that they didn't see the video on Ridealong. Why didn't Ridealong show the video? There we go. We show the video. This is the video from what we saw to how it all ended. But of course, there is a story before and of course the story that followed. A lot to pack in here. We're gonna start with ladies first. Colleen, after seeing this video, what's your initial reaction?
Initially, I wasn't too happy to see that because I just felt like it was very unnecessary. And I feel like he was just asking reasonable questions, which deserved reasonable answers. And I don't see where all of that was called for. So that was my initial take on it.
All right. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a lot more to say on this. Mr. Jason Skeet, sir. After seeing the video, we just played it back in its entirety again, sir. What's your initial reaction on what transpired?
That's my reaction.
A man of many, many, many words.
Let me just say that looking at the video just kind of reignited how upset I was at the very beginning of looking at it. Totally unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary.
Okay. All right.
Abusive.
Okay. And that's just a few words. All right, Jason, I know you're going to have a lot more to say. And we're looking forward to what you have to say. Let's just get Mr. Pancho initial take on it. Mr. Pancho, your phone is on mute. Could you unmute? Pancho? Pancho, could you hear me?
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. My initial take on the video when I saw it, I thought, well, here we go again. Another case of police mishandling what appeared to be a simple situation. But Junior, I have to admit that when you listen to the police officer, he was trying to get the young man to cooperate.
Uh-huh.
And you have to understand the role of the police officer. The role of the police officer is to keep law and order. In his conclusion, the police officer deemed that this young man was probably driving without legality.
Right.
And so what I saw ensue in the video was a power struggle where the police deemed it was necessary to arrest him. I want to stop there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool, Mr. Pancho. All right. Here we have a situation that we don't know what happened before that video started to roll, right? To put things in context for everyone, I got a chance to speak to Reen, I believe is his name, and he kind of gave me a assessment as to what happened a little bit leading up to before the camera started to roll. Apparently, this man was being followed of some sort by the police officer. The police officer did not actually catch him driving. He was already out of his vehicle and walking, right? So he was out of the vehicle when the police came up. Also, it's good to put into context that after speaking a little bit to his attorney, who is Mr. Derek Sylvester, he's represented Reen for the second time against the same police officer. So quite obviously, it's there to understand that the individual who is being arrested already had an altercation with that said police officer in the past. So just to add that to the context of the conversation. That being said, Colleen.
Yes.
do you see any reasonable explanation as to why the police officer would use this level of force to apprehend someone for a traffic violation?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Regardless of what he was doing. I mean, there are people who commit crimes, heinous crimes, but they're still told to treat them as human beings. So if you are, pulling over someone for a traffic violation, are there protocols in place for handling the situation? And as my fellow person had said there, Mr. Pancho, that the police is there to uphold the law. I would think that if you are in a position to uphold the law, there's some things that you should be modeling to citizens, and it's a way to act. And I believe that this police officer could have de-escalated that situation way better than he did. And from what I'm seeing, I don't see the right for all this manhandling, especially when someone is asking you, please don't handle me like that. Like, I think we all need to put ourselves in this situation and think about, if we are getting pulled over, how we would want to be treated as a human being. And this kid, this gentleman, let me not say kid, this gentleman was asking this policeman, can you not handle me this way? Don't manhandle me. I mean, oh my God. He's not cursing at you. He's not being, belligerent to you. He's not using any physical force. You can step back and you can give him his personal space, and you can explain to him why you're giving him the ticket or why you are arresting him. But you're asking him to comply with you, but you're not even giving him the opportunity to. So what are you expecting him to do?
And a question there by Akimo Joseph, he said, wasn't he resisting? Jason, I'll come to you. What different could the police officer could have done in a situation like this, where he doesn't have a partner, so he's there by himself, and he is making an arrest of a person that is then being intercepted by another person. And let's not, at this point in time, for argument's sake, let's look at the fact that she's pregnant as an irrelevant factor, right? Just for the argument's sake. Let's just assume that it was just a person and that person was not pregnant, because before we saw the pictures, we didn't know that she was pregnant.
Right.
So here is someone making an arrest. Isn't it within his legal, whatever legal realm, to make the arrest and resist anyone else from intercepting him while making the arrest? Jason, why is that? Why are we seeing a problem there if the police officer is deemed to be doing his work?
Because the police officer was foolish in how he executed his duty. It wasn't a well thought out process. And I'll tell you why I say that. You're riding a bike as a police officer. This gentleman, from what I gather, and let me say this before I go any further, I did my own fact finding, right? So I spoke to some people who were directly involved, as a matter of fact. And you're riding a motorbike.
Mm-hmm.
You plan on arresting somebody. You follow the person who is not that you got to the scene of the incident. You follow the person. You're charging the person now for not having a valid driver's license. But at the time of the arrest, the person was not operating the vehicle. Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these things start to seem like common sense. No. The next thing is this. You have to call for backup. You have 5, 6 people there, situation escalating, all of that. And the only option you could tell somebody who is standing there, let me use your bus. So you ain't even have the presence of mind to say, well, okay, I'm approaching a situation where I'm going to try and detain a gentleman for operating a motor vehicle without a license. I'm approaching the woodland, so you're going to need some backup, you're going to this, you're going to that. So after you finish this, your only thing is, let me use your bus. Like, really?
Yeah, and I understand. I'm hearing from the folks there that they're getting a little bit of a feedback. So Pancho
Yeah,
and
I'm getting it too.
yeah, so Pancho and Hermelin, if you guys could put a headphone on, that would, if it's possible, that would help with the feedback that we've been hearing. Let's jump to the line real quick and get a call on the line. Caller, where you calling us from? Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Where you calling us from?
The police could have taken the young lady by a summons, so that physically fighting with her.
Uh-huh.
He could have taken her by a summons. He could have go back, make in the station, and then they could have summoned her, and that's the situation wouldn't have be like that.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay, caller.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pancho? Pancho, I'm back. I'm back to you here. Right?
All right, I'm back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of things, Junior, I want us to be aware of. One, Mr. Skit, I want to agree with you that the police did a very poor job in the de-escalation of the situation. There is no question about that. He could have done a different technique. He could have applied a different method in arresting. However, one of the things you said, and I want to take dissension with it, is that a single police officer is going out, and a single police officer is supposed to be able to make an arrest. There is nothing in common sense that says that a police officer must have a backup for an arrest. There may be situations where backup makes much more sense, but if you take law into consideration, a police officer has the authority to put you under arrest, to have you sit on a wall, to have you sit on the side without resistance and without violence and without manhandling. So the point of the matter here is that this young man was not a willing person. He was not acquiescing to the request of the police officer. The police officer has all right to arrest him if he is driving without a license. Absolutely. I do not want us to get the feeling that the police officer does not have the right. Neither does he need backup to arrest a person. No, he doesn't. So that's a given. What I think happened here, Junior, is that when situations, and I'm looking at it now at the psychological aspect of it, when situations like these happen, it is very common for people in authority or anybody, it doesn't matter whether it was the police officer or the young man, to save face. There is someone recording, there is someone urging, there is someone antagonizing the police. You listen to it on the video. So a lot of ego comes to play in that scenario. As a result, the police is not backing down, neither is the young man. The young man does not want to be recorded as somebody who is giving up easy. The police doesn't want to be seen as somebody who is, well, maybe lenient and or soft. So he has to let his authority be stamped in that situation. My take still is that when the situation started to escalate, when it became a situation that it was not well controlled, had the police used a different technique, we might have had a different ending.
All right, good enough. Colleen, I see you itching there to jump in. Go right ahead, Colleen.
Yes, I'm just saying. So, from the point that you were making in terms of using another technique, what technique would you suggest he had use? What technique should he have used?
Yeah, very good question. I am not very familiar with all of the techniques for de-escalation that the police use.
Right,
However, I have been trained in de-escalating, so I know certain techniques that psychologically we can use.
right.
Let me tell you this. For example, so let me be very specific because
Hmm.
I am still of the opinion that the police officer could have had this man arrested
Right.
uh, without all of the pepper spray, etc. We live in a very small society. He knows the young man. Okay, the police officer could have made a call. He could have been following. The police officer could have allowed him, if he was insisting on going ahead, go ahead and get his information. All of these could have been used. And so that's why I say at the moment in time, it was a battle of the ego. Who is going to come out here winning? And of course, the police, knowing that he has the authority to arrest, is
Hmm.
not going to look bad.
So I have another question because I heard you say earlier that both individuals were trying to save face. Now, if we're looking at a person in authority, they shouldn't be trying to save face at all. They should just be following the law. And they should know that if you're de-escalating a situation and you're mentioning de-escalating the situation, I would think having a conversation would be the first part of de-escalating a situation.
Well,
And in terms of having a conversation, you should not be the only one entitled to speak because you are the police, the law. And I feel and I believe, and as you can see, the young man asking questions, well, why? And he's asking him to comply. And we can see that he's asking him to comply, but are you allowing him to comply? That's one of the problems. He's not de-escalating the situation to me. He's escalating the situation because, again, you made the point that they're both showing face. And we've seen, I'm hoping that most of you have seen some of the videos that have been on YouTube for the past couple of years that shows incidents between, citizens and the police. And we can definitely we can see the difference between someone, being very belligerent against the police to what this young man was doing. Now, he wasn't fighting back with the police. And from what I can see, he had his two hands up. And that's a defensive stance. So, with a defensive stance, I think at this point in time, the police could have said, well, this man is not trying to be, rude to me or disrespectful. He's asking me simple questions. He didn't have to hold him because, again, I'm feeling if you're holding me, you already have me in custody. So you're already proving me guilty before I'm proven innocent on the spot. You're not giving him a chance to get his questions answered. You're not even giving him a chance to even comply to your orders. So your orders are you in turn are making orders but then breaking them because you're asking him to comply. You're not releasing the man to walk with you. You're not releasing the man to go where you're asking him to go. Instead, he's asking you a question and you just pepper spray him. And I'm thinking here, if we're showing face, this gentleman could have just pushed him down. He didn't. He could have retaliated in a way that they both could have got hurt. The
Yeah.
police could have got hurt, but he did not.
I wanna get Jason's take on this here because again we're talking about comply and complain, and that was everyone was talking about.
Junior,
Why did he
hold
just
on.
comply?
Junior,
Go ahead.
just give me 1 sec, please. Right?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second here, please. Because you see, a lot of times I want us to focus on listening, not just to respond. Because when I said what I said initially, I realized Dr. Pancho disagreed with me but came back 5 minutes later and said exactly what I said. I am saying, I understand that there's nothing preventing a police officer from charging you. If a police officer thinks that you're driving with an inappropriate or expired license today, there's nothing preventing him from approaching you tomorrow or attempting to arrest you or arrest you tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with that. That is his right. However, I am saying that given this situation, even after all of that, the police officer still had ample time to right his wrong. And I am saying the police officer was right all the way through, only until he wrong his right. Because yes, you could have called for backup, but you didn't, right? You're following somebody, you don't know where the person is going. You want to make an arrest, you don't know what the person have on them. You don't know the nature of the person if you don't know the person. There are a lot of things that you don't know. And I'm saying one of the things that you have to do is to use your discretion. And I don't think that discretion was used here by the officer at all. And that is the point I'm making. I am not making the point whether or not he has the right to arrest him a day or 2 or 3 days after. I am just saying that when you get there and you see the situation, you could have said, all right, you know what? You want to resist today? All right, I know your name. I know you because here you go. Let me see your license. He doesn't have it. Okay, I give you 48 hours to bring it in or how much ever is required. And you go about your duty and you show who is in charge. But you don't show who is in charge by bullying the situation or bullying your way through the situation.
Pancho.
And that is the point I was making, but I didn't think I needed to break it down like that. But I'm just saying that's the point I was making.
Pancho, did the police officer use his discretion in your interpretation of the video that we saw?
In terms of the video, you see, Junior, it is very hard, and I think I listened carefully to my 2 colleagues on the 2 presenters. What we don't know is we are making a lot of assumptions, and that is where I think if you look at police cases, including in the United States, etc., sometimes you see the video and everybody says he's going down, and then he doesn't go down because there are things called antecedent, what precludes the incident. There are things that are not recorded. There are things that are said between the police officer and that young man that neither of us know and or will ever know. So here again, you ask the question, in my estimation, I agree with you, Jason. I think the police officer from the video, I'm not making assumptions, from the video was doing okay. I have no question about that. Up until he decided to arrest the young man, I believe it was okay. The young man started to resist. My friend says that the young man was asking questions at that time. If the police, and I'm not saying he did, but if the police is arresting for failure to produce a license, the police has the right. The police doesn't have to answer any other questions. So I'm arresting you for driving without a license. There is no other question. Put your hand behind your back. Period. That's it. So up until then, the police officer, we talk about, the pepper spray wasn't necessary. I don't know that it was not necessary. Because at that time, he was not cooperating. He was not cooperating seconds before the pepper spray. If he was cooperating, his hand was behind his back and he would have the handcuff on. That is what cooperation with the police is. Outside of that, we have to make a lot of assumptions and cast a lot of aspersions, and I'm not sure that I want to do that.
Right.
No, we definitely don't want to make assumptions, but we can see as well. I think we all can see, and we might be seeing things from different angles. But again, in terms of not making assumptions, you can clearly see that it was just way too much, too excessive force, right? If you get pulled over by a police anywhere in the world, I'm hoping that they would treat you as a human being. I'm just hoping that's where we're going with it. That we're treated as a human being.
That certainly would be the expectation. Let me just take another quick call. This person I've been holding for a while. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, like we said before, I do not know what it is led to, whatever the issue. But I had an incident where I was pulled over by a policeman driving, and he asked me to present my license. I didn't have my license with me at the time, but I was a licensed driver. I said to him, I don't have my license with me. He said to me, I give you 24 hours to go to the police station in Grand Island and produce their license, which I did. When I went there, they write me up that I came, I produced my license, and I left. So in an incident like this, he could have given the gentleman time to produce his license, and if he did not, then they go after him. So he could have used better judgment there. Like I said, I do not know what led to the situation or escalate the situation, but sometimes policemen do not use proper judgment.
Right, and it has to do with the policeman discretion as well at the time. Let's take a quick another call on someone on the WhatsApp. Call on the WhatsApp. Go right ahead. Call on the WhatsApp. Go right ahead. Hold on. Hold on. Call on the WhatsApp. You there? All right. I'm unable to get a call on the WhatsApp. Yeah, but it has to do with discretion. It has to do with the police discretion at the time, guys.
Yeah.
And Jason rightfully said, right? So let me put another discretionary thought into everyone's mind here. If it was a foreigner or a visitor to the island, right, that was noticeably seen driving or asked to present a license, would the police officer use the same discretion as he used on this person who we confirmed that he knew before? Would he use the same discretion to apprehend somebody else that he did not know or he deemed as a visitor or a foreigner or whatever the case might be?
Junior, that is
I
calling
hear,
for
hear
us
what
to
I go
make
say
a
to that,
lot
yeah?
of.
Yeah.
That is calling for us to make a lot of assumptions, right?
Right.
However, if I were to answer your question in a diplomatic way, I want to tie it into the caller that talked about
Call on the WhatsApp. Hold on.
the police giving her 24 hours to produce a license. She's correct. There is an option for you to be able to produce your license and or your insurance, and with a stipulated amount of time. However, if a police officer or a officer of the law knows you and know that you don't have a license, and or they don't even have to know that if you are driving without a license, they have another alternative to use, and that is to arrest you. They can impound your vehicle and and arrest you, and if you can produce it, then you'll get somebody to bring it in, whatever it is. But I want us to understand that I think a few of us, all of us, are saying similar things, Junior. I want to see a police force and police officers that are quick thinking on their feet and very attuned to the emotional response of people that they're working with, so that in case of pending altercations of violence, they are able to see it. Because one of the things you have to also remember, this police was in a very vulnerable situation. He was in a community where other people were around who probably were not his friends and on his side. So he placed himself in a situation where he could have been in danger by attempting to arrest someone. So I think we are calling for people, police officers, to be more sensitive, more intuitive. That's the word that I want to use, intuitive to the situation in which they're venturing themselves, especially when they're alone. And in this case, with this officer, a traffic person is probably going to be out there alone a lot of the times.
Yeah. Jason, I know that a lot has been said between your last comment, but and it has to do. The big question is the judgment of the police officer. But a police officer friend of mine just sent me some information right here that I want to just go over with you guys really quickly, right? I know we also have a caller on the WhatsApp. A police officer friend just sent me this, and he said that in making an arrest, a police officer ought to confine the suspect, use only reasonable force, use only necessary restraint, consider if the offense is arrestable. Right? Following these guidelines here, do you think, Jason, that the police officer was right in arresting the person following these guidelines that was just presented here?
The police officer has the right to arrest anybody they choose to arrest. And I'm saying this because for some strange reason, when I speak and I say, I'm thinking more often than not that I am speaking to people above the age of 18 and 20, so I don't have to explain everything. So let me say that a police has the right to arrest anybody he thinks is breaking the law. That is his right. He goes about, he has to protect, he has to uphold the law, right? If a police officer thinks that you're breaking the law, just by his own thought alone, he can detain you. You could be arrested. That's how the cookie crumbles. How you go about doing it is a different story. And I believe that, to answer your question, the force was unnecessary. It didn't warrant any pepper spraying. I didn't see the young man, what you would refer to as resisting his arrest. I see the young man talking back to the police officer. I see the young man, putting up some kind of verbal, presence to say, arresting me. What is the purpose of yours? And you smell a rum. I hear, and let me tell you something. That aggravated the police, I'm quite sure. But guess what? That's what you're trained to do. That's what you're trained to deal with, right? I have seen situations already where police officers approach me, and I'm totally right. And when some police officers realize that, hey, but like this man know what he's talking about, then their approach change. I am quite sure that if I honestly believe that there must have been some prior meeting between these two folks, because it seems to me as though this was, and I'm using my words carefully here again, it seems to me as though this was something that was brewing. So, hey, I catch you now, I go deal with you, kind of thing. That is how it came across to me. But I'm saying it's really and truly not, a lot of the things that happened was just not necessary. You pepper spray somebody, and that was the way you do it. It was terrible, right? Because wow, yeah, you pepper spray somebody. Now the person cannot see. There's somebody there who is saying, "All right, officer, let me help you with him. Help him walk." Well, I think that means the public starting to go on your side now. The same person who was videotaping and talking out say, all right, let me help him because he can't see, his eyes are now closed. And then that becomes an issue too. So at what point do you want the public to cooperate with you? Let me tell you something, Junior. Let me tell you something. You see the hierarchy of the police force? You see the senior police officers? You see how they go about, and when I sit down and I listen to the senior police officers in this country talk, I have hope for the police force. When I sit back and I listen to them speak, I am excited about where the police force is going. And most police officers you meet on the street, they really try to do a very good job. But remember that story about one apple spoiling the bunch? Well, there are a few bad apples that I believe that is spoiling this bunch and the work that a lot of these police officers are trying to maintain. And I believe that was one of them right there.
Let's go to the call. Let's go to the phone lines. We got a caller right now. Caller, where you calling us from?
Calling from United Kingdom.
Oh, go ahead, UK.
This is the same police officer that kicked down the man on the bike. He need discipline. he is very arrogant, and he needs discipline. That's my contribution tonight.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. A lot of calls coming in. Let's just take a few calls, guys, because the phone lines are just off the hook. A lot of people want to input their voice on this particular topic right here. So we're going to give you guys an opportunity to speak. You can call right now. The number is, let me go to the WhatsApp. Call on the WhatsApp. You're live. Go right ahead. Where you calling us from? Call on the WhatsApp. Go right ahead. Call on the WhatsApp. Go right ahead. All right, caller. All right, caller, go right ahead.
Junior.
Yes, go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, calling from Miami. Yeah. The what I know the laws in Grenada is when they catch you driving without license, they give it 24 to 48 hours to present their license. That's what I know. Right. I don't know if the laws change, so the police officer cannot do that.
Yeah. And he had the option to do that. Did he use that discretion? And it begs the question, right? The fact that this all happened, if we now confirm, or we could now confirm, and that's what for the panelists, if we could now confirm that these two had prior engagement, these two knew each other prior to this particular event, does this change the whole narrative? Does this change the equation, if any?
It does. It very much does. It just sounds like a George Floyd situation. You know, the police knowing the person, you know, prior to killing them. But I'm just hoping that we don't get to that point in Grenada. You know, I'm just just trying to think of, you know, getting pulled over by the police officer or by any police officer. You're taught to be, you know, kind, polite, you know, follow their orders, follow their directions. And, you know, again, like in using the discretion, we are taught in the Caribbean, like when you have on your school uniform, you represent the school, you represent yourself. And I would think a person in authority would have the same morale. You would, you know, represent your job, what you're doing. You're a police officer, you're representing the law. And here you are, you know, enforcing the law, which you had the discretion of getting his information or allowing him the time to present whatever document he had to the nearest police station. You took that right away from him. And then you took his freedom away from him by holding him. Now, my thing is that I'm not saying that police officers cannot do their jobs. I'm not condoning wrongdoing. But I am just saying there's a way to go about doing things, and there's a way to go about treating people. And if you are a police officer, the same respect you are expecting citizens to treat you with should be the same respect you treat everyone with on the street.
Yeah.
Regardless if they're right or wrong, you state your case and you make very clear what the offense is. But you still treat people with that humanity. This is a man. I'm a man. I'm going to speak to him with respect. I'm going to carry out my job with respect, and I'm going to hold that dignity. If they had some type of verbal disagreement among themselves, does that warrant you manhandling? Does that warrant you macing him? And for a lot of people that are saying, well, you know, you're not, you know, siding with the police and talking about, you know, he's doing his job. Put yourself in the driver's seat. If you're doing something like that, you already know you're in the wrong, right? So why fight? And he did not. But you're also expecting you being in the wrong for that police to still treat you as a human being and a citizen of that country and still handle you in a professional way because he's representing the law.
Let's take a quick call. Caller live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn.
Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Actually, I've been listening to the program for the past half an hour now.
Yes.
And I heard Jason said something there and it drew my attention, and the other gentleman said something there too and it drew my attention. And you read something or some article, you say get some information, right? You said that the guy had an application or have a code. Was it had an arrest with this gentleman before?
Yes, well, I got a chance to speak briefly to his lawyer, and
Okay.
his lawyer confirmed to me that the lawyer is confirmed to me that he's represented him this time around, but he also confirmed that that's the second time. If I could, well, I want to quote, but in essence, what he's saying is that that's the second time he's representing that same client with that said police officer. I believe that that's
Oh,
exactly what was said. So they
okay.
know each other. They have history. He know the
All
guy,
right.
and he
As
previously
Jason
pulled him
said,
over
you have to be something that build up, right?
yeah.
It's something that build up, Jason said. And I believe it's something that build up is either
I call it. All right, the caller got disconnected. Caller, you there? All right, we lost the call. Um, Skeet or Pancho, you guys could jump in on this one. Does this now change the entire narrative?
But Junior, I don't know which narrative you're talking about. Whether it is a narrative that we are creating post incident or the narrative that led to the incident. Because I agree with Colin that if there is a history between the two of these people, then it would flavor the way the police treated him. There are a couple things that I'm not clear about. So let me ask it and then let's see if we can find answers for them. One, somewhere in the video, I am thinking that I'm hearing that the police officer is asking him, telling him, I am arresting you because you did not give me some information. So I am not so sure if it was because he did not have a driving permit. Maybe he didn't have a driving permit, but I think I am hearing that he's asking for information.
Yes.
Secondly, I do not want Grenadians to get the idea that the only route for the police when they catch you without driving without a license or documents is to give you 48 hours. Let me share this with you, Junior, and the listeners. My very, very first offense that I got involved with in Grenada as a teenager was driving without a license. And the police officer who pulled me over knew me because I had gone to do the written exam the week before. I went to do the written exam, I passed, and so she knew I didn't have my license yet. And then she saw me driving and pulled me over. She did not give me 48 hours to produce my papers. She arrested me, confiscated the vehicle, but I had to have somebody drive the vehicle home, and arrested me, and I was charged. Okay, so and that was many years ago. So when the caller said, well, he doesn't know if the law has changed. No, the law has not changed. If the police catches you driving without a license, they can give you 48 hours or they can also arrest you. That is what I know. Okay, and that's what I experienced. So let me make this point quickly. So the narrative does change because seemingly they had a history before. However, I must agree with Colin. Even though they have had a history before, and probably they will have history in the future, that must not cause the police officer and or the gentleman to have disrespect for each other. I stress again that the police, in my estimation, was doing fine until he came to the point of the pepper spray. That is where I thought he should not have gone. But he was talking with the guy. He said to him, are you going to allow me to arrest you, or are you going to have me use force? He said it a couple times. and I guess the answer wasn't what he wanted, and then he used the pepper spray. But when he used the pepper spray, in my estimation, that was when he crossed the line of civility. I thought he went beyond because there was no scuffle. There was similar resistance, but there was not scuffle. There was not danger. The police officer didn't seem to be in any danger of being hurt, but he proceeded to use the pepper spray, and I thought at that point he lost it.
All right, guys. So listen, let's take a quick break here. I want to hear from Jason. Also, we got a caller on the line, and we have not yet even touched the question as to the lady that was in the photo. We didn't even touch that as yet. We'll talk about that and take your calls when we come right back. Don't move.
Are you looking for some early cash for Christmas? Yes! Then join the fun online. Play Waggity Virtual Bingo! Because on Sunday, October 4th, from 6 p.m., you can win not 10, not 15, but a whopping $20,000 US cash! And the best part is, tickets are only $20 US. Available at gotofet.com or special box offices island-wide. And if you don't have any idea how to play, then visit our main office at Bruce Street Mall, where one of our agents will go through the process step by step. Remember, Sunday, 4th October, Waggity Virtual Bingo is now $20,000 US. You don't want to miss this.
And we're back here on Ridealong Live. Before we go on to the next topic about the young lady in that video, in that photo actually, let's take a call. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from?
This is John Crow.
Hey, John Crow. Yes, go right ahead, John Crow.
I'm calling you from Yonkers right now.
Okay, Yonkers.
Listen, the woman in that video, well, I didn't see her in the video, but I saw her still, and the complaint of her being pregnant, that woman should be arrested 10 times and charged 10 times.
Okay.
Because there's something called interfering with administrative affairs or administrative whatever. A police officer is making an arrest. The private citizen has no place in that space at that time. Now, going back to the arrest itself, I just posted up on the chat that police officer and several of our police officers in Grenada need retraining. There is something called sensitivity training that is necessary and is absolutely needed by our police. And many times, what happens many times is that they get that uniform, and nowadays they're getting that gun, and they think that they are now God. And so that they do things without thinking through the process. That police officer is very, very lucky in the sense that if this guy was a violent type person, or if he was carrying a weapon of any kind, that police officer would have been out there by himself and hurt. And long before he got any kind of help, if the community was hostile. You see, you cannot go into a situation knowing, or should say not knowing, what will or could happen in the event that where you are now backed up against a wall and you have nobody around you who is a quote-unquote friend of yours. And he put himself in a very vulnerable spot by being out there in the open, so to speak, and have no kind of backup. Like the young man said just now, here he is going to call on a citizen to use the citizen's bus to take the arrestee to the police station. It is what you call not thinking through the process. And that is where I have a problem with our police officers. Not all of them, but the ones who don't like to think. And for whatever reason, they think that the name police or the uniform that they're wearing makes them I can't think of the word right now, but put them in this position of superiority, and that nothing can befall them. And that has to, that style of policing, you know, again, they're looking at TV and they're looking at the police things that they see on TV, and not realizing on TV it's a script that they're following. They're not doing police work as police are trained to do for 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, 3 years, as the case might be. There's a lot that goes into policing, and it's a very
unthankful job. I could use that word, unthankful job
Right.
that police do.
Yes.
And when police like this police officer act the way that he did, I have no problems with him and the arrest, even using the pepper spray. I'll give him a pass to say, well, okay, he felt like he's in danger. He never had command of the situation. He never took charge of that situation. And as a police officer, making an arrest of any kind, the first thing you do is to command the situation, and total control is yours. And you have to take that,
Okay.
right? Whichever ways you can. I mean, he could not even take down the guy.
Right.
I mean, he looked real like the Keystone Cops. You know, like when he used to play police and thief back in the day. That's what he looked like.
Okay.
You know, you before you do those kind, you have to think it through. Am I by myself? Do I have backup close by? Are they within 5 or 2 or 3 minutes to where I am? And those kinds of thoughts have to go through your head.
Okay.
Like your one of your panelists just said it. You know, you can't just go out there and then while you in the trouble, now you're trying to make it up.
Right.
And trying to figure. No, that's not how you do policing. Absolutely not.
Thanks a lot for your input, John Crow. Thanks a lot for your input. Colleen, you want to respond to what the caller just said?
Which part of what he just said should I respond to? I'm sorry. Well, first of all, I don't agree with him saying that this lady should be arrested at all, because I hear her in the background, but I'm not focusing on her. I'm focusing on what I can see, and what I can see, I don't agree with. And then the next thing, I'm just saying the lady didn't obstruct him. Is not to say she's like, oh, don't put the handcuffs on. She said to the man, I'm going to help you walk. So I'm just saying, like, you pepper sprayed the guy, you have him in handcuffs. He's telling you he cannot see. I mean, you're not really physically holding him up in a way to guide him to where you want. He's leaning forward. So I'm just saying, like, if she's saying to you, I'm going to help you, she's not saying, well, you're not taking him here, or you better take these handcuffs off. She said, I'm going to help you. But again, you can see that this police officer definitely has some type of authority, adrenaline going on, because it's like he was basically waiting for her to get close or to say something, because as soon as she said, well, I'm going to help you, he was on her. So my curiosity is like, what happened to Rain when he started with her? Because it seemed like it just went south after there. But I don't agree with you, sir. I feel as though now we have an opportunity to speak up. And I think that's one of the things that we fail to do in society on a whole. We see things are happening and it's not right, and we just say comply. We don't ask questions. And to I think Mr. Pancho or Jason, someone, talked about, asking questions. You have a right to ask a question. A question is not an illegal thing. He had that right to ask a question. But again, like, what is legal and what is not in terms of, like, what can you do? What can you not do? He can ask a question, but I don't agree with Mr. Crow in saying that she should have been arrested 10 times. I think she stood up for, she saw some injustice was happening and she spoke up, and she was just offering some type of assistance. And to me, she was helping the cop do his job, not the other way around. Right. She was helping him guide the boy.
Pancho?
Well, I'll tell you this, Junior. Yeah, Colin, very good argument there, girl. Let me say this here. John made some really great points. One, the sensitivity training and awareness of law enforcement in Grenada and elsewhere, of course, but we're talking about Grenada, so let's keep it Grenada. Really, we need to beef up that. And I think the police force under the commanding the command of Mr. Martin understands that, and maybe he's taking stock of it. But there is no question that sensitivity, awareness, and training is really paramount. Because as I continue to say, I agree with John also that the police officer did not take full control of the situation. He has the law on his side. He has the authority on his side. All he needed to do now was to assert himself in a very humane and polite way. And when the pepper spray came out, or a couple seconds before the pepper spray, I think he lost it.
Yeah.
And that just went down, Colin. That just went
Yeah.
sour
Yeah.
continually.
Right.
There was no hope. There was no redemption. At this point, for the police officer, there was no redeeming of himself,
It
his
wasn't.
ego, his uniform, the police force. So he just went down, 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 down. And you're right. The authority adrenaline just kept him going. That is what kept him. That's why he ended up with the lady in that situation. I want to add a
Absolutely.
quick piece here. Let me add a quick piece here about I listening, and that's only my point point of reference. Listening to the lady or the person who was videotaping, I think they were adding a little fuel to the situation that was not really necessary. And Colleen, I want to disagree with you a little. That
Yeah.
is, with the lady when she came wanting to help, you kind of concluded that, oh well, she probably was trying to help him and help him save face and help him do his job. I think she was not really in place to do that. She should not have,
Right.
and that doesn't give him the right to pull clothes and whatever it is. That I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at that point, because things were already going down, it didn't need any momentum to continue down, down, down
Hmm.
until
Yeah, to
today
get
we have this terrible image of what policing looks like in Grenada. And I think it's a really injustice to the
Hmm.
rest of the police force and all the officers who use sense when they are policing.
All right, let's go to Jason. Jason got cut off earlier. He's back. I know you have like a mouthful to say. Jason, let it rip, my friend.
I kind of missed what the gist of the question was. Um,
No,
but
we're speaking
from
about
what I'm hearing, go
we're
ahead.
speaking somewhat about the lady, and she inserted herself. Do you think that she inserted herself wrongfully into the arrest, or she was just trying to aid her friend? And what's your take on that? John Crow said that. John Crow just called it. And he said that the police should have arrested her like about 10 times. What's your take of her position now in being a part of the whole situation, the whole scene?
You see, that is where we come back to what we're discussing, because you see, when you asked the question earlier on about a switch in the narrative, or a possible switch in the narrative, for me, the narrative is only the use of excessive force and how the policeman went about his job, not that he has the right or doesn't have the right to arrest. And so the narrative doesn't change at all for my one part. Um, you see, this is what I have to take into consideration. I also take into consideration the fact that this person who was videotaping this, from everything that we are hearing, they are close with the gentleman who was being arrested. I gather that because throughout the video, as a matter of fact, even at the end of the video, she would have called somebody and said, "Listen, they arrested the driver who was dropping me where, and what," and those details came out. So it was obvious that there was a connection between the both of them, and they would have known each other. Um, so yes, you could understand why she would be emotional, because she is part and parcel of that entire situation. In addition to that, I don't know how many of us here listening and viewing, and I don't know how many of us had to deal with pregnant women often. But a pregnant woman goes through so many different emotional changes in one day that it is mind-boggling, right? Um, so you could understand why she might be shouting. You could understand why she might be emotional. Then you could understand why her caring genes would kick in, because she's pregnant and she's a mother already. So those instincts will kick in. I mean, as a parent, you scream and shout at your children, and then 5 minutes later you hug them up and you're kissing them because so you move from one stage to the next. So I'm just saying that even as a pregnant woman, she may have gone through that as well. Um, Technically, legally, was she wrong to insert herself in a police situation? You can say that. But is this an ideal situation? No, it is not. Right? If we look to go with doing everything that is right or going about everything that was right, then what we're discussing here today, we would not have been discussing it because the police would have acted in a better manner. The young man would have stood up and just say, all right, put on the handcuffs. There would have been no need for a video recording. There would have been no need for a pregnant woman's body being exposed and images showing that, a scuffle with a police officer. There would have been no need for a police officer to even consider a scuffle with a pregnant woman. So let's not go down, well, this shouldn't happen and that shouldn't happen. Because you see, at the end of the day, this is a situation where everybody was involved and emotions went sky high. So to say that she should not have been involved in a police situation, I get that, right? To say that the people should not have gone up on the fort on October 19th, that is true. But did that give the army the right to turn the guns and shoot them? No. Right? So let's not even go down that road because we can't win that battle. Right? This woman is pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and as a police officer, a male police officer, a man coming, screaming, shouting at you and thinking, you just had to ignore and walk on. Do you just keep on doing your thing and just ignore it? Because the kind of you're supposed to know the kind of emotions you're dealing with.
Yeah. And the optics just doesn't look good. Let's go to the phone. We got a call on WhatsApp. Call on WhatsApp. Go right ahead.
Hi, good night to everybody and Junior George.
Hi.
There is a lot of things that happened before the video starts.
Right.
And the main things was not captured on video. So I think that is very wrong for the person just to judge based on the video if the police is right or the police is wrong.
Let me ask you a question, caller. Let me ask you a question before we go any further.
Yes.
Are you a part of law enforcement in Grenada, or are you privy to information that happened before the video start?
I'm privy.
Or you're privy to information that happened prior before the video? Good. What position did you play in the whole? How privy are you, and where were you in terms of before the video start?
When the video started, I was present at the scene.
Okay, so you was present at the scene. Great, no problem.
Yes.
Tell us what happened prior. What happened when the police officer got to the scene from that point?
When the police officer got to the scene, the police officer approached the young guy.
Right.
When the police officer approached the young guy, the police officer told him, he gave him on 2 occasions to 48 hours to brought in his license.
Right.
He did not.
Okay.
The police officer saw him again. The police officer said, well, I will give you a ticket because you did not bring in your license for driving without a valid license.
Okay.
What happened after? The guy started so the police officer asked him for his name and his address. He gave his name, but he refused to give his address.
Right.
The police officer indicated to him that it is an arrestable offense.
Okay.
He failed to give his address. The police officer told him he's under arrest, and he was resisting arrest by not putting on the handcuff on his hands so the police can escort him freely. What I know is that the police law states that police have all the right to use any force necessary to complete an arrest.
Okay.
So if the police thinks that, because the police had gone anyways, if you think that was excessive, if you want to think about excessive force, The police could have just, if the police had put out a gun and shoot, that would have been excessive. But when he used the mace, right? You saw that he caught the man to put the other handcuff on his hand, and you saw that in the video. But there's a lot of things the video to take on. For example, the young lady, when the young lady bite the police, the other bus driver had to flag down a SGU security boss, get a female to assist in the police officer. All the video didn't take all that, and that is key information. And I think that as a public should access not just on the video, but look for more information and assess it before judging, because a video will start halfway through a situation and you don't see the important part of the situation, what caused the arrest, what happened, and nothing like that. And I think that there's a lot of things, because the obscene language, the lady obstruct the officer by trying to escort the guy. Why you want to escort the guy after the police already have everything in the hands to escort him already? So why you want to escort him? That is obstruction. You're making the job difficult for the police. So there's a lot of things that we have to, and just don't judge on the video, but judge on facts. And that is my contribution to it.
Hold on, caller. Before you go, caller, I have another. Oh, I had another question for him. I wanted to know if you know about the relationship that they had. He obviously was on the scene, and it spoke like if he probably a police officer himself. Or what you guys think about the new information that we just received by someone that alleged to be at the location? What you guys thinking now?
Well, I know for sure I can only talk about what I see. I can't talk about what I can't see. So to say, like talk about what we see, that's what we're currently doing right now, caller. We're talking about what we saw. And what we saw, what I saw, I felt wasn't handled justly. And that's what I'm speaking on. I'm not saying that this guy is in the right, and I'm not saying that the police officer is completely in the wrong, but I'm just saying that the way he handled the situation wasn't good.
Right. Okay.
That's just my point.
Jason?
But that's what everybody's saying. But that's what everybody is saying.
Right.
Everybody is that let me not say everybody. From what I hear, everybody is saying based on the video, this is what we are seeing. This is what we believe. Nobody is saying the police in her right to arrest. We are all saying that the excessive force in which he used and the use of the pepper spray to the gentleman, that was just uncalled for.
You see, but Junior, we have to understand. I don't know, and I haven't said it that way. So I don't know that the pepper spray was uncalled for, because when the pepper spray, if you were showing a piece of the video just now, when he had the handcuff on one hand, and the gentleman was resisting, flinging his arms all over, that's when the police engaged him in the discussion and said, do you want to put your hand down? Do you want me to handcuff you, or do you want me to use force? He said it more than one time. When the pepper spray came, he subdued him enough to put the other handcuffs. The point is, I am saying that from that point, in my estimation, things went out of control. Okay? Because all along, he was doing what I think a police officer should do. I do not want us to get the opinion that, oh well, they had a beef before and now he's taking it out, or the police officer was embarrassed because the guy said, oh, your mouth smell rum, or the lady on the side that was urging, the igniting, inflaming the situation, she was doing all of that. There's no question about that. The point here is that for a non-violent situation as a traffic ticket, that's my point I want to make. For
All right.
a non-violent offense like a traffic ticket, there are much better ways to handle it than leading it to end up in this chaotic situation.
All right, we got a caller on the line. Let's just jump to the call right now. Caller, you're live. Where you calling us from?
Hey, Junior, this is Vic Spiceman from DC area.
Go right ahead.
Hey, so I have a couple of points on this. first, first point, it seems like listening and looking at the video, the police officer and that guy had like run into before. Because my first thing is, why did he pull him over? Did he violate some traffic like a stop, or he was speeding? Why did he pull him over? And I'm thinking that he knew the car and he was driving before. Like the guy said, he had pulled him over before for a license. So like you say, we didn't see all the video, but I think there was something more going on boiling with these two individuals, with the police officer and this guy. That's why he got pulled over, because the police officer knew that he didn't have a license, so he decided to pull him over again. Next thing is, when the police officer asked him, like, are you going to let me arrest you? I'm going to use force. I think the police officer went too far with the use of force by pepper spraying him. But like Mr. Francis said, I think the police officer was kind of scared because that lady was videoing, and you could see in the video she was trying to build a case on that video. Because when the guy told the police officer, "Oh, you smell like you're drinking alcohol," that was his case. He's building there, saying that the police was drunk. That's why he's arresting.
Yeah.
So I was a police officer in Grenada for 10 years, and I know how the police operate. I knew that whole video was them trying to build a case, because they know that the police officer had pulled that guy over before for the license stuff. So they was trying to video to build a case in case something happened. They have some evidence. And then the guy who just called, the last guy who called, I promise you he's a police officer, because no regular civilian don't speak like that.
Yeah.
And don't have the kind of information he was given.
Yeah.
So he could come on there and say he's not a police officer. This is a lie. He is a police officer. That's why he know that the young lady bit the police officer, and then she got help from somebody, because in the video he had nothing like that. All he did in the video was stop a van to help him, a bus to take the lady to the station, to the guy to the station. So there is a lot of things boiling in there. There's a lot more to this matter than we know. So we just have to let it play out, and we shouldn't make any judgment until we get all the evidence and we know exactly what's going on.
I thank you, caller. We appreciate you appreciate your input, caller. Here is another piece that I uncovered after speaking to Reen. Now, at the point in time where there was a scuffle happening between the young lady and the police officer, Reen was able to just vacate the scene. He was able to leave and walk. So the police officer basically, he lost one. He basically, if it was a different situation and Reen could have fled the scene, like a place like Brooklyn or some place that's big that you can't find the person, he would have been gone. So Reen was left. He forgot about Reen, and he started to altercation, or I don't know how deep the altercation was, but he started to focus on the young lady while Reen was in handcuffs and just left to wander. So Reen expressed to us that he were able to really walk and go and sit down, and the handcuff from the back, move it to the front, and sit in his car for a long period of time while he can't see, but he's hearing the altercation between the police officer and the young lady that happened for a period of time. So it has to come back again to a matter of judgment. And the judgment that he made, now he just lost the prisoner. The main focus that he should be focusing on taking care of, not the female. Colleen?
Yeah, and again, to me, it just makes no sense, right? Because again, use your discretion. This lady is talking, right? And I've seen it many times in New York where you have people on the street, they're cursing at police officers, disrespecting them in the worst ways. And what they're doing, they're focusing on the job that's in front of them. They're here for this person, and that's the person they're focusing on. You can say whatever you want in the back, but again, as they say, she inserted herself. And I'm just saying, if a family member or a friend that you're on the street with and this is happening, and you feel as though that is an injustice against that person that you're with, you might do something very similar to what she's doing. Okay. And I'm just saying, like, I might have acted the very same way if that was my brother or my father or a friend. Seeing that you sprayed him in his eye and he can't see, you're already manhandling him. I'm going to insert myself and make sure that he's okay. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm going to do. But then again, you're a man, she's a pregnant woman. You are supposed to use discretion. You are supposed to say, Miss, can you please back up? You're infringing on my case, on whatever I have going on. There was nothing like that. It's like he was just patiently waiting for her to say something to start it up. That's what I saw.
Yeah. And let me just add this, and then I'll come back to you guys there, because I saw someone said, I think it was Siobhan. She was saying, well, yeah, he's still going to get charged, no matter if he left wandering or not. Understandable. But in understanding the story, we also learned, that's not in the video, however, that Reen was only charged. He wasn't charged for resisting arrest. He wasn't charged for all of this. All of these things was dropped, right? He was charged for driving without a valid driver's license. At the end of the day, at the end of it all, the police did not charge him for the list of things, the laundry list of things that he told him that he could have been charged for. Question is, why? What happened there?
I guess he didn't do all of the things that he was saying.
No, he did.
So what happened?
Why would you say, Colin? Why would you say he didn't? We see
him. Well, I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, if you're charging me for all these things and I get charged for failing to not identify myself properly, then what happens to the other charges?
That is absolutely, that is a charge. A charge for not identifying yourself. That's an offense.
Right. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying what happened to all the others, because clearly Junior said he was charged with a list of things. So what happened to the other charges is my question.
Well, maybe, charges can be added on, right? Charges can be added on.
Okay.
So, but I have no answer for this one, because I would think that to build a better line of defense for his action, you would want to add all the charges, as many as possible, even though they are minuscule. The resisting arrest, if there was profanity, you would add profanity in there. The failure to identify yourself, whatever it is, I would think that the police would want to add those to engender a stronger case. So why that didn't happen, I have no idea. Could charges be added on? Yes. The DPP, after looking and getting all of the evidence, Junior, could add charges to the existing ones.
Right. Mr. Penchu, that sounds like, when you fail to read someone their Miranda rights and you get into the station and you realize you messed the hell up and you have to clean it up. That's what it sounds to me.
Probably a case of saving face.
So then it has to be that something went wrong somewhere and someone didn't do what they were supposed to do properly. And then the only valid thing that is standing is just that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jason?
Jason, you cannot be speechless. No way.
They said it, but no, but they said it. They both said it. Let me tell you something, man. They both said it. the police, and I see somebody made a comment, and I don't really bother with it, but as I was logging back on it, it popped up that I might be anti the police. Let me tell you something. I have relatives in the police force. I have some of my best friends that I interact with are members of the police force. And do we always agree on everything? Of course not. But do we respect each other? Of course we do. There are some friends that I have, but when I see them on duty as police officers, I pass them straight. I ain't failing them because you're on the job. You understand? And I want nobody say, you know me or I know you. So, passing you straight. I see you, we make eye contact, and that is it, I'm gone. Right? But the fact of the matter is, Junior, and I said it before, and I'm saying it again. Nobody is denying the right that the police have to arrest and all of it. The whole issue that in front of us, as far as I'm concerned, was his actions necessary? Right? Because if you're going to pepper spray somebody to arrest them, when you see the need to write resisting arrest on the summary charge, then I don't know, maybe that sounds like a calypso somebody writing.
Yeah. Jason, I have to agree with you with this one. Because if you had to resort to pepper spraying him to subdue him, and there is no resisting arrest in the summary charge, then the equation doesn't add up. X and Y does not, they do not, it doesn't make sense. And so that is probably part of my of the difficulty I have with his action. Could it be that his action was so horrible that the DPP feels that we're not going to add this charge? And I would really think that maybe that's what my thinking is, Junior, that the DPP is still looking at the evidence before all of the charges are laid. I want to think so.
I'm quite sure that is possible. I'm quite sure that is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. So my thing, I really, I want to take it with Colin, very strong points. But Colin, I hear you defending the lady. And it's for good reason. Very, very strong reason. It's just that
I defending the lady to a Pancho.
What's that? If it's the same person,
I defending the lady to her, she pregnant.
Yeah. If the lady is the same person or that is doing the video, I think things were adding up. It was adding up. It was adding up to the point where she inserted herself unduly so. And so Junior, now she became the focus because I think he is thinking of his safety now, maybe making an assumption, which we promise not to do.
From a pregnant woman? You feel in danger? You feel in danger from a pregnant woman?
What?
You feel endangered by an 8-month-old pregnant woman?
Really? Come on,
you have a
gun.
Pancho, you have a gun. Pancho, you have pepper spray. Pancho, you have handcuff. Pancho,
Jason,
you have a gun.
Pancho,
you have pepper. Pancho, you have a gun. You have pepper spray. You have handcuff. You have baton. You have a motorbike, and you're afraid of an 8-month-old pregnant woman
Because we would have had a different conversation if he had used the pepper spray on her or the gun or the baton. We would have had an absolutely totally different conversation, and one that I would not have been inviting. I would not have said yes to Junior to have, because that one would have been a really horrible one for us to stomach. So the point here is
let's take a quick call on the line. Where are you calling us from?
Because we would have had Jason, we would have had
Caller, turn your background down, please. Caller, turn your background all the way down, please. Caller, turn your background down. I'm hearing the show back. Caller,
That's what.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, good night. Calling from St. George, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I watched the whole video.
Yes.
All right. I'm not saying that what the police did is right, but the situation and what it was at.
Yeah.
that could have gone a lot smoother, a lot better. All right. I seen worse altercations. All right, where you have police officers handcuffing men, and the men cussing, the men on the fling hand, but still on the bag. They didn't use pepper spray. They use the knowledge in combat and put on the men, handcuff them. You know, single police, they ain't no groups. But you telling me a man that trying to charge somebody for not having a license, but you're telling me that he knows the guy, okay? Because you can't tell me you just ride behind somebody and you just want to give them a ticket just so. As how you said earlier on, you spoke with a lawyer, and the lawyer said this is not the first time with this guy. Because the thing is, no, if you check back the history with this officer, all right, that is the same officer that kicked down the man in Valley, the Rasta man in Valley, of the scooter. All right? And as how the Rasta man explained, he did not hear when the officer said stop because he had on his helmet. And you know this kind of helmet now, this snuff now, you're not really hearing properly in it. All right? And plus, the officer had a mask in your face. When you're talking with a mask in your face, you can't really hear anything. But the thing now, I find where he went totally wrong. The lady was just assisting the gentleman because the gentleman was tripping on himself to say he cannot see properly. The officer did not have control of him. They say like he could carry him for himself. Lady say, okay, nothing. You're under arrest. Well, let me just help you walk to the bus because the bosses are willing to assist to drop down the guy to get attendance to see, you know, for his eyes. And as he did that, you want to take it on yourself to lash out on the lady. And I mean, I saw the gentleman say that he was there and the lady bite the officer. I feel the reason why she started to bite the officer is because when the officer started to lash out on her, because that is self-defense I given a woman thing.
Yeah,
You
well,
understand?
we don't know that for a fact.
No, I ain't say that I know that there, but I mean, as how things go and you see in the picture, he did not have rights. Because if he had done something else now, and know for sure you thinking the same thing too. If he had done something else, like say swing a hand, all right, swing a hand, or he did something or throw her down, and she stomach get lashed, and she went to the hospital and she lost her child. What would have happened next?
Yeah.
Now, Steph, the whole of Grenada now wanted real justice, you know, because he did not have that right, you know, to strip her and to start to get on with that. As how you said, and as how the other gentleman said, the previous officer spoke, he could have just ignored. That's all, ignore. The lady thing up, she emoji thing up, just ignore. I was in a police boys club, I used to be taking honors and things. Simple thing they say ignore. Somebody could be questioning when I do business, I ignore him. Understand? Yeah. What he did this, trust me, he didn't have no right. Alright? And the thing is, your pepper spray in his eye. Next thing his eye get damaged and he can't see again or what going on again. That's the thing. I mean, yes, the officer has his job to do. But if you say you're giving the guy 48 hours to bring me license and then all of a sudden you change it because you heard in the antics in the video that she said the officer said he's going to give him his ticket. Why didn't you just give him his ticket?
Yeah, Makola,
right.
I guess when it reached to a point where he couldn't ignore anymore was probably when he felt that she was inserting herself into the arrest by her now trying to hold on to the gentleman. As a police officer, probably felt like that was impeding in his right to do his job.
No, he didn't have that right because he want to make it more, realistic that they could see that he get more annoyed and everybody can see that point. Is when the gentleman started to say, oh, you smell a rum so. And you can see that he started to build up that tension there. It's like he guilty or something. I mean, I'm not sure that if the guy did have a shot, but somebody tell you that and you're on duty and you're there on camera, okay, you want to flare up.
Right.
But I mean, he had the guy and tell the guy sit down, call for backup, all right? Call for ambulance, so they come and, see the situation are going on. But the way you handle the situation, you don't handle the situation like a professional. All right. I see other officers handle situations, war situations, like a professional, and trust me, I give them the ratings they. But what he did, nah. Trust me, he gone down below right now. That's the reason why you have officers that have retired, all right, already, and they checking back on this thing there, and they'll be like, no, he did this in a wrong manner,
Right.
all right. You have other ways you can settle this thing. I mean, you're watching the guy didn't even look like you want to fight back or anything. Only just to be ticket, you know that you want the ticket and thing, and all like go. You even fighting back.
Right.
I mean,
Again,
if it was an next guy that was swinging a hand now, what would happen? You'd have just put a handcuff and that's it. You would have pepper spray.
yeah.
I mean, as I said, it, two of them had a connection before. It's like like you see the guy driving, and you say, all right, I go hold him today, but I go trouble him today. You know,
Right.
it's like he was waiting on him. Because you can't tell me you're following somebody for the longest while you tell them 48 hours and they keep on following them. No.
Let me just
Something do adding up.
let me just read that information again that was presented to us as it relates to the what the police officer ought to do in making an arrest, right? They say that in making an arrest, police officer should or ought to confine the suspect. The person making the arrest shall actually touch or confine the body of the person to be arrested unless the person submitted by word of action. They should use only reasonable force, use only necessary restraints, and consider if the offense is arrestable. So we was looking at if all of these items was followed, not necessarily in the chronological order as I said it, but if those articles here, and that's from Police Act Cap 244 and its regulation, Criminal Procedure Code Cap 72B, and the judge rule and direction. So that is what the police is following in making an arrest. So I ask you, caller, really quickly because we're about to wrap up. When looking at the video, don't you see that some of these items were used? Do you see it, or do you understand it to be used, or no?
Yes, because the thing is, I'm listening to some of the other callers that was calling and giving their points, and the way the other gentleman that said that he was there is like making the guy and the woman like them is the worst ever because the way he talks, okay, because people are listening to this thing and the way he talks is like, okay, he's only rooting for the police, all right. He did not say about the other gentleman, the kind of bald-headed dark skin guy that was there and telling the officer, yes, go ahead, and thinking up. He didn't say why the guy jumping in that too, okay. He had other people on the scenes. You can see he had a lady in a red dress walking around, all that kind of thing. He had other people on the scene, but he did not say anything like that. All he was thinking about, all right, yes, the police are right. Yes, the police should do that. Yes. No. He had other people there, and he had some people that was putting themselves in it, but he did not say that. All right. If the lady did not videotape that whole incident, nobody would have known what went on. Okay. He could have put other words and say, oh, this and that, the guy fight back and he refused and this and that. But since she started to record and everything, he started to get, on edge already because like he didn't want that.
Right.
All right. Okay. Because this is not the first time I'm telling you, this is not the first time you had an incident in Cherry earlier where a young girl at the depot and a simple altercation that could have been just off it already. But no, you want to fight for the young girl. You understand?
I call it. We have
and to plus she was pregnant at the time.
Wow, we have to end it here. We're running really short on time. But thanks for your input. Thanks for calling. We appreciate your call. All right, thank you again. All right, guys, we way past that time already, right? But I want to conclude. I want you guys to kind of let's just wrap this whole thing up. What are we saying? Should citizens know and understand the rules, the rights, the regulations, what they should abide by in terms of when they are being arrested, and what should be citizens' rights? Someone else is calling from Grenada, but I'm going to hold that call back. So, what should citizens know and abide by as it relates to police officers making an arrest? And also, let me just say that we are going to be speaking with the lawyer Ruggles Ferguson, who I really try hard to get on the program today, but he just couldn't make it. But we're going to have this conversation where we discuss citizens' rights in while police officers are making an arrest. So Ruggles will be on the program probably in a week to discuss that. So let's get it from you guys. What is citizen rights? What should citizens do? Observe when they are being arrested or being in the position to be arrested. Yes, that's the question. Let's start with you over there, Mr. Jason Skeet.
It is incumbent on all citizens, it is incumbent on everyone to know the laws of the land that you reside in. It is incumbent on you. Do not take for granted, and even if you may not know it word for word, I think it is important that you understand the spirit of it at least. Because in the absence of that, what you're going to find is that there's going to be a lot more confrontations like these, right? I don't see Reen in the video or in the photo where the police officer was with the pregnant woman, where her clothes was being where her body was exposed. I don't see Reen in that photo at all. So that tells me that it was just the both of them at that point, and it shouldn't be. Um, I don't see why is it we have to get to the point where, listen, this woman walk up to the police officer and bite him if she bite him, right? A woman's only defense in a case like that may be very well be to bite to come out, right? I mean, I see girls in school and thing bite fellas and thing when you see like a scuffle and thing and thing charge up and woman just bite, right? I've seen that. Right? No, my thing is that what would have made her do that? She just walk up to him and do it like that? No. So I'm just saying that in everything that has happened, it is incumbent on us as citizens to understand the laws of the land in which we live. Because if you don't educate yourself on that, you could find yourself in difficulty. And what you might be right eventually, but the process to getting that right could cost you. And I always tell people, and this goes to all the people, I always tell people this in authority too. And sometimes I have to say it to myself, because I'm human, I'm not a saint. Having the right to do something doesn't necessarily mean it is the right thing to do. Having the right to do it doesn't mean that it is right to do. And while the police officer had his right, it wasn't the right thing to do. We have to understand the laws. We have to know the spirit of it. We have to educate ourselves and our children on it, because it is something that is serious. We had a situation, Junior, and you could call this my wrapping up comments too if you want. You don't have to come back to me. I understand. We had a situation recently where a man was shot in his house by a police officer. We're seeing it all over the world, right? So you could understand why is it now this young lady would say, hey, well, at least let me help him walk to the vehicle because now he can't see. His eyes are closed, right? He concerns me. If I am the police officer in that instance, I'm glad because I know getting help to bring him to the vehicle. So if something happened to him, if he stumble and fall, I could say, well, it's not me who trip him. She that was holding him that trip him. You have to use your head sometimes. And you have to come off the ego thing. You understand? When somebody see a police uniform, you know the police in charge. There's no need to say, I am in charge anymore.
Yeah. Thank you. Pancho, your take.
Yeah. Just a few words, Junior. There is no question that civilians need to know or be acquainted with the laws of the specific region. And I think in Grenada, we need to do a little more psychoeducation from the police side and from legal aid and other entities that deal with education, so that our population could be more au fait with certain laws or the laws. But my closing remarks, Junior, has to do with the police. I, I don't think we bash the police on the show. I don't think any one of us um, will relegate the police to happenstance or not needed. Or I think we respect the police. I certainly respect the police. I understand the job that they do is very difficult, and they have to be acutely aware and thinking on their feet. Um, but what I want to submit is that for the entire police forces to become more and avail themselves more to sensitivity training, respect, and so that we could, sorry, citizens could offer them the respect that is so due to them as keepers of the law, as well as the police respecting civilians and understanding too that civilians have rights that must be respected. I think what happened there was unfortunate, a very unfortunate incident, an incident that caused an altercation ended because people's ego was hurt, were hurt, sorry, and that should have never been. So no, I just want to encourage police officers to be mindful of sensitivity, and civilians to be understanding that the law is there to keep us safe. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And Colleen, we're gonna wrap up with you.
Yes, I'm just thinking about it from an educational point of view and a perspective where, you are trusting teachers with your children, and sometimes our children don't always do the right things, and they don't always say the right things, and they don't always act the way we train them to act. But we are expecting teachers to respect our children regardless of how they behave in any setting. And that's what I'm seeing here. Sometimes people might not act the way that we expect them to act, and they may not do the things that we expect them to do. But the ones that know better should do better. And in that situation, the police should have done better. He should have handled the situation, more professionally. And if there has been incidents where he has been using excessive force, then he needs to be either retrained or someone needs to have some type of conversation to him about professionalism. But also, I want to just make the point in Grenada, I think we are a warm, set of people. We are loving people. We are not a type of people that are, just evil and mean. We get involved in things, in everything. And sometimes we get involved, we see incidences where police are being, mishandled, and civilians step in and they, deflect the situation. So are we saying that now it's not okay when the police is being mistreated to not step in and do the right thing? And I think we have to be very careful with the message that we're sending. And it's not to say that we're not supposed to obey the law, but sometimes the people that are in authority don't always follow the law as well. And so you have to be mindful of that, and you have to speak up when that's happening. And I think that's what happened in that situation. This person saw something that she didn't feel was right, and she acted. And either way, I feel as though we are supposed to be knowledgeable about the law. We're not going to know everything, as Jason and Mr. Pancho said, we're not going to know everything. But we also know what is right and what is wrong. We can use our discretion. We can use our basic knowledge to know that there's ways to go about handling situations and deflecting situations. And I just feel as though we just need a little bit more practice in that.
All right, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your input. Jason Skeet, Augustine Pancho, Colleen, and of course we did have a plan to have our attorney on the line with us to give us from a legal perspective, but that didn't happen. But we committed to have that information so everyone will have information as to how to protect themselves and understanding the law. Because you know they say that ignorance of the law is no defense. All right. Let's take a quick
No
break, guys.
excuse.
And no excuse either. Thank you guys so much. Let's take a quick break. I'll come back and wrap up with some final words. Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde. Law done differently.
Are you looking for some early cash for Christmas? Yes! Then join. Are you looking for some early cash for Christmas? Yes! Then join the fun online. Play Waggity Virtual Bingo. Because on Sunday, October 4th, from 6 p.m., you can win not 10, not 15, but a whopping $20,000 US cash. And the best part is, tickets are only $20 US. Available at gotofet.com or special box offices island-wide. And if you don't have any idea how to play, then visit our main office at Bruce Street Mall, where one of our agents will go through the process step by step. Remember, Sunday, 4th October, Waggity Virtual Bingo is now $20,000 US. You don't want to miss this.
Yeah. Hi guys, thanks for watching this extended version of Ride Along. We did a whole 2 hours, a whole entire 2 hours. We appreciate you guys watching. Guys, listen, at the end of the day, I think when we sum it up, it all comes back down to discretion, right? Because when you ask the question, was the officer right in making the arrest? If you go by the law, you might conclude that yes, he was right to make an arrest. I mean, a police officer could arrest for a plethora of things, and resisting arrest is, as one police officer told me, is one of the easiest thing our police officer could arrest you for. Resisting arrest. And we did see very clearly on the video, guys, in some instances where you might say, yes, he did resist arrest. He did not listen to the officer when he said he didn't comply, right? Some people might also say comply and then complain later. He didn't comply. So the officer insisted on making the arrest. But again, it comes back to discretion. And what would make the officer be lenient on a particular situation and not so lenient on another situation? It all comes back to discretion. Even discretion as it relates to the pregnant woman. You know, some people may never put themselves in the position to be like how we saw in the video there on the picture. It looks as if it's a scuffle. It looks as if he was making some kind of well, it looked as if the half of the woman clothes come off, whether she took it off, he took it off, but her clothes was up. The optics just doesn't look good. So it comes back to discretion. But my final point is, I believe that the police officer, based on the law, based on the book, based on the law, the police officer did have enough points, as some might say, to make an arrest. But was the discretion, he had also the discretion that he could have ticketed the individual, but he chose not to. His discretion was to proceed with the arrest. Anyway, guys, we're going to continue to follow this. I think it's important that everyone, citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, understand and know their rights as civilians, all right? And understand what you should do when you are being arrested or if you pull over by police. All right. Should you comply, and when does compliance? When should you not comply, if ever at all? It's important that we understand this rule and how to carry yourself when being pulled over by police. Now, my point, when I'm being, I got pulled over by police a number of times. I'm very, 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 very cool, calm, and collective, because out here, they ain't gonna pepper spray you, right? They ain't gonna pepper spray you at all. But then it comes back to the same thing. George Floyd complied, and where is him today, right? I want to continue this topic, guys. I really want to continue. And again, we're going to have our legal mind, who I really try hard to get on the program today, so we can leave everyone with that information as to what to do when being arrested or when being pulled over by police. But I promise you, I'm going to do that in a short video and put it out from the legal mind as to what to do. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I know there is so much opinion. People are heavy with opinions. I see it. I see the energy there. I see the back and forth. But at the end of the day, everybody just wants the same thing for everybody else, right? Safety and security for everyone. Thanks again, guys. It was great. I'll go back and watch the comments. Lynn, thank you so much. Lois, thank you so much. Mo, thank you so much. Everyone on our panel, Jason Skeet, Colleen, and Dr. Pancho. Catch me again tomorrow, right here on The Ride. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, did you know that the census is due this year on April 1st? And guess what? This time we can finally count as Caribbean. This year, all you have to do is 1. Check the race box, and 2. Write in your country of birth or ancestry. You can answer by the paper form, online, or by phone. Everybody counts in Census 2020. So count as Caribbean. Yes, we count.
You're constantly thinking of food, but sometimes you just don't want to cook or want something a little different. That's when you call Tasties, preparing meals that you really love. Tasties, our mouth-watering food, would have you coming back every day. But hold on, we only prepare meals Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now. Call early because we have a lot to serve, and we would love to serve you. Tasties, we prepare the meals you love to eat. From macaroni pie to baked chicken, provision dumpling and saltfish, stewed chicken, curry chicken, baked chicken, rice and peas, salads, and more. Please call for daily menu. Call 425-0624 or 403-0411. You can pick up your meals from us or we deliver it to you. Tasties, food that's delicious.